Hi, I'm Melissa, and this is the Book Break. And today we're talking with an author who writes for school-age children and has a really awesome new book coming out. Let's bring in Dustin. Hello. So Dustin Hansen, you have a brand new book coming out. Let's show a picture because you're also the illustrator in addition to being the author. So this is The Legend of the Dream Giants. Super cute book, heartwarming. I've been reading it and I love it, but I'm going to let you tell us more what your book is about.
All right. Legend of the Dream Giants is about a lonely giant named Berg who is kind of walking the world alone, wondering if maybe he's the last giant left. But the people, all the humans in the world, are afraid of him. And not because of anything he's done, but because of the legends of the giants of the past. So Berg is kind of this lonely wanderer, hoping for a connection with somebody. He wants it so bad, but he's unable to find that because of the history of kind of what's happened in this world before him.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I want to show, if it's okay with you, some of the illustrations in this book because they're awesome. So, and we're going to have to talk about some of these, like where the bear comes in, because as I was reading this book, I was like, oh, I see now where the bear comes in because I had seen the illustrations. But I'm curious, did you already have your illustrations drawn up, before you submitted your book to your publisher or before you finished writing? What was your process with that? Because being the illustrator and the author is a little unique.
That's a really good question. For this one, I actually didn't have any drawings of the bears when I went on submission. The initial version of this, all of the dreams, that's what the bears are drawings of Berg's dreams, were done in poems. And I still have a kind of a soft spot for those. I love those poems. But we kind of thought that they were a little too prescriptive. They told a little too much of what the dreams were. And my editor, who is wonderful, Lisa Mangum, and I talked quite a bit about it and decided that maybe going through illustrations would let people interpret those dreams a little bit more. And like you mentioned, I'm an artist. I've of course drawn pictures and kind of goofed around with what Berg might look like and what Anya, the main characters, might look like, and what the mayor looks like. But I had never drawn what he might dream. So it was a really fun challenge for me to kind of think, where would this be different? And I didn't want to show Berg in the dreams. I wanted to show something different. And the bears seemed to kind of fit with that.
Yeah. So now you've got to tell us more. For those that haven't read it yet, which by the way, you guys are going to want to go get it. It's just barely coming out. Tell us more about where do these bears come from? And there were some other animals in there. So without giving away spoilers, but where does this come from?
Yeah, it's funny because even in the poems, there were these, like a bear, a small bear that they called Small Bear Not So Small. That was the name of the small bear at that point, who represents Berg. And then there was a larger bear that it represents his mother. And then there's another bear. I'll let you figure out who that is as you read the books. But there were other characters that need to be shown throughout this book. And I didn't want to add humans into that world, that dreamlike world that Berg has created. So the wolves represent somebody, another group of people. I'll let you read and find out. But I really felt that was kind of a nice way to kind of show some of those things. And what I really wanted to show is that there is a difference between the giants and the humans. They aren't the same. They are different. And I think that knowing that they're different is an important part of this story.
Yeah. And I also really like some of the concepts, we'll say, that it teaches little lessons, I feel like, throughout this book. And I mean, it's really fun for kids. They're gonna, it's gonna have some adventure and intrigue. And what child hasn't thought about giants before? But what were some of the things that you were thinking as you were writing this? Because you have some really important things, I feel like, in this book.
I'm glad that you picked those out. It's been interesting for me. A few people that I've had read the book, some people really latch onto that and kind of see maybe a deeper meaning inside the book. And some people just read it for the adventure. And I'm totally fine either way. It's one of the great things about books, right? Like as a reader, you add to the fiction by what you bring into the book. So I love that you picked that out. So for me, the overall theme was that, you're right, there's a couple little ones in there, but kind of the overall theme to me is that everybody needs somebody, right? And it's really important to not put all of your effort into trying to please everyone, and maybe put your efforts into trying to find the right people. And Berg does this, but it takes him a long time. He's a little slow to learn this lesson that maybe being loved by everyone isn't exactly what he's after. Maybe he's looking to be loved by the right people.
Yeah.
It's kind of a fun lesson to learn.
Yeah, I think, adults, we need to learn that too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think sometimes, especially for children, because, they go to a school perhaps or a church or something, and there's lots of kids around, and they might be thinking, I want to be one of the popular kids, but really you just want to be with the people that you're comfortable with, the people that you feel like you can be yourself with, and that make you feel at home no matter where you are.
I love that. I think that's perfect. And it's absolutely a theme that I like to kind of go to there. I think another one, if I can, another one is talking about being the popular kid, right? And there's some beautiful things there too. It's great, right, to be popular. Sure, I'm sure. I haven't been there, but it is a really good thing too. So I'm not saying it's bad to seek to be popular, because that's fun too, right? To have a lot of friends. But I think the thing that's another warning within the book. There's another character that I don't ever mention his name. He's called the Mayor. And he is so powerful with the words that he uses that he's able to convince everybody that Berg is bad. At the same time, he lies to Berg as well. And so Berg believes in this Mayor so much that when everyone's ready to kind of bully in on Berg, they're ready to do it. And it's an interesting thing, and I've seen that happen a lot too. So sometimes I think what I'm trying to say here is, as somebody who's in school and making friends with a lot of people, if you see somebody who might be a little bit different, and other people, by the way, I knew my dog would show up, and he's here. If you see somebody who is kind of pitching in and making fun of somebody, it's okay to stand up on your own and be different than that person, and to look for good in people who might not have as many advantages as you do, or might be a little different than you. Because
I love that. That just gives me
goosebumps.
So I really love that concept too, about including people. I think sometimes, we forget that there's people out there that are shy or different, and they don't see where they fit in. But if we can be friendly and accepting, that really, really goes a long way. So we're coming towards the end of our time, but I want to talk a little bit now about the adventure side, because he thinks he's the last giant, and he has a lot of adventure through this book. Tell us a little bit, without the spoilers, a little bit more about the adventure.
Yeah, one of the things, of course, of being a giant is great strength, right? So just because of his scale and his size, he can do amazing things. And so Berg gets sent on a task by the people in the city to collect something that he calls the tallest tree. Berg's language is a little simple. He was abandoned by his mother when he was young, so he's kind of developed his own language, and he names things on his own. So he has to go on this adventure to chop down this tallest tree, and it is massive. And the people of the city build him an axe to go and do it. And so he feels like it's this great honor because he has something that's been built specifically for him. It's never happened in his life. And so this adventure for him is both a great, great, great reward and potentially a great mistake. And I like that duality, that potential of sometimes the greatest things that we do might have another side to them. And Berg definitely sees that as well.
Yeah, I love that. So Dustin, where can our viewers go to see more about you, maybe your art, books? Where can we go?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. I'm getting better about posting there. My teenage daughter is telling me I have to, so I'm following her lead at Dust Writes. And then I'm also on Twitter a lot, especially with librarians and other people. I love to interact there. It's a great book community. I'm easy to find there. And then you can grab my book. Shadow Mountain is the best place to go because they've got a bunch of different little jump-off points that'll either send you to an indie bookstore in your area, which is always the best, or other online sellers as well. And if you do order books from King's English,
which is in, so for those of you that are in Utah, King's English is in Utah, but they sell online some too.
Yeah, I'll show you this really quick because they're fun. I'm doing a bunch of illustrated first pages, like hand-drawn illustrated first pages for people to order from there. So, you might get a drawing of a little bear inside your book if you can grab one from them. And that's because one thing, if there's something in front of my face, I'll draw on it. It's just my habit and my hobby. But the other thing is I love King's English. I love independent bookstores. So, that's always a fun place to go and support your local businesses. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today, Dustin.
Thank you. It was so much fun. So nice to meet you.
Thank you. And thank you to our viewers. We'll see you next time.